So thank you all for joining this session of Zoho Contracts. So I'm Helena from Contracts team, and I have my friend Akshya here who is going to help me enable the session. And even before we start the demo, I'd like to tell a few things. One, throughout this course of session, if you have any questions regarding the product or with respect to the feature, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A tab and we'll get them answered. And also, the last 10-15 minutes, I will leave the session open for you to ask your questions and to discuss them. So you can just follow the session and you can drop your questions in the end of the session as well. And throughout the session, you can also see Akshya posting some helpful links based on what we are discussing about. So make use of those links as well. And she has also planned a few polls to understand our audience better. So to please engage in our polls. So we will get to know more about our audience. So thank you, and I hope you'll all enjoy the session today. So this is going to be the flow for the demo. So first, we are going to see why businesses need a contract management software or a contract lifecycle management solution, and how businesses can assess their CLM requirement and their maturity level using a framework model called CLM maturity. And then we'll move on with Zoho Contracts, and I'll give you a quick product sneak peek. And finally, we will conclude the session with Q&A. So it is just going to be pretty simple, and hope you will all enjoy the session as well. So we will get started. So this is how a typical CLM scenario looks. So these are the stages involved in a typical contract lifecycle. It starts from authoring to approval, negotiation, followed by the post-execution stages, and with ending with analytics and reporting. To manage all of these contract lifecycle stages, in the absence of a CLM system, businesses tend to toggle between multiple applications. On an average, they make use of up to 6 to 8 applications to manage the entire contract lifecycle. Say, for example, they make use of a word processor for authoring the contract, and now to get it internally approved or to send it for negotiation to the counterparty, they make use of an email application. And to get the contracts digitally signed, they rely on a third-party e-signature software. Now, all of this metadata is stored with the help of a spreadsheet and all contract document with a document management software. And then a calendar to keep track of important contract milestones like contract renewals, contract amendments, and etc. So in this approach where we have multiple applications involved, there are a lot of traditional problems associated with it, like long contract cycle times, high operational cost, and missing on a renewal or revenue opportunity, which might lead to financial risk. And this is why businesses should consider a CLM system to eliminate toggling between multiple applications and to have one simple solution to simplify all your contracting needs. Second, apart from, and also researchers say that poor contracting costs up to 9% of their annual revenue for businesses, and more than 10% of companies' contracts are either missing or lost. And this is why businesses need a contract management software in place. And apart from businesses trying to solve the operational challenges and trying to solve the traditional problems associated with the conventional method, there are also other factors that are driving adoption towards a contract management software. So businesses are adopting CLM for following reasons. So be it the complex supply chain where you need to manage a lot of stakeholders, you need an efficient contract management in place to do all the dealings, to track their obligation, to renew the contracts, etc. And then when frequent regulations are cropping up, for example, be it the PDPL in Oman and the NDPA in Nigeria, and when such regulations crop in, and the PDPL in KSA as well. So when regulations crop in, businesses are forced to do an impact so that you comply with that regulation. So without a CLM system, it becomes a very daunting process to check all the contracts to see which particular clause is there in this contract and do we need to amend it to comply with the regulation. And using contract management software, it's just a report that is automatically ready. You will have to check it and do an impact study and get it done. And also in today's business landscape, where businesses are providing a flexible sales and pricing model, they need a CLM in place to accommodate that level of flexibility. And the other factor is with risk. And with the recent pandemic, the emphasis on risk mitigation is at all-time high, and contracts are critical piece to solve risk. And the last factor is the latest trend of consolidation. That is, when two companies decide to come together, they need a forensic analysis of all their existing contracts to understand where they stand from a compliance standpoint, where they are from a revenue standpoint. So these are some of the key reasons where we see businesses are adopting contract management solution into their tech stack. And now we've seen why businesses need a CLM tool, why businesses are adopting a CLM tool. And if you are somewhere in partially deciding, do my business or does my business require a CLM solution? And this is a framework it's like a framework that will help you to assess your level and know what you need at this level. So to start off, you might need to digitize your contracts. That is, with the help of central repository, you might need to store all your contracts in place. And then moving on to level 2, you would need a self-servicing model where your legal team or anyone can access the templates, create contract, get them digitally signed and stored. And now moving on to the third level, we might need granular features like to track obligation, and you may need alerts and reminders for important contract milestones. And if you see level 3, it is inclusive of level 2 and level 1. So that is how the maturity model evolves. So, and then moving on to level 4, so you have a CLM tool. Now if you want to integrate with this CLM tool with your existing tech stack, then you need analytics and reporting to glean strategic insights from your contract data. So these insights will help you to integrate all of this CLM tool with your existing tech stack. And then the focus shifts to governance and compliance, where you give importance to features or capabilities for data protection, for ensuring compliance, a central audit system to conduct regular audits. So this maturity model will help you to assess where you are right now in your CLM phase, and you can implement. The wise choice or the key thing to do here is you have to choose a CLM tool that will grow as you scale. So we have a checklist which will help you to assess your CLM maturity, and you can choose the implementation accordingly. And Akshay, please share the links. And yes. And now we'll move on to Zoho Contracts. So by now, you all would have known that Zoho Contracts is a comprehensive contract lifecycle management software from Zoho, and it is the first one to be added in the legal category. And why Zoho Contracts? So we at Zoho deal with a lot of contracts, and over the years, we have heard a lot of problems and challenges that our customers face in managing their contracts using traditional approach. And also we have heard some feature requests for them to solve their contract management challenges. So our vision was to provide a holistic platform that includes futuristic CLM capabilities but remains easy to access. And our approach in achieving that was to firstly streamline the end-to-end contract lifecycle, right from authoring to execution to post-execution, and then to include features that will help you to mitigate risk and improve governance. And with respect to promoting cross-functional integration, we have a current working integration with Zoho CRM, and we have APIs available. So that's about our approach. And now we will quickly move on to product sneak peek. I'll walk you through the product and highlight the key features. And even before we move over there, Akshay has a few polls planned, as I mentioned earlier. So Akshay, can you please run the polls? Oh, that's nice. I see a lot of them answering it. Thank you. Thank you for answering the questions. So thank you all for answering that. So now we have come to the product screen. So this is the homepage of Zoho Contracts, the main dashboard that gives you a bird's eye view of what's happening across all of your contracts. And this contracts module here is like a central repository where you can store all your contracts in a single place. And with this advanced search and filter option, you'll be able to access critical contract information whenever required. And before we start with creating a new contract, I would like to run down through the admin settings here. So here you can create your contract templates, and we have 14 predefined contract templates. Apart from that, you can also create your own custom contract templates as well. And similarly, we have a clause library where you can add all your clauses, and you can have one standard clause and multiple alternate languages under each clause. So if you can see, you can add alternate languages. So yeah, and you can now, and also you have something called workflows. So you can configure approval workflows to the contract types that you have created. Say, for example, this is a parallel approval workflow, and this can be associated with a contract type MSA. Similarly, you can create your own workflow. Say, for an NDA, you need a sequential approval workflow. You can create one and you can associate it with the contract type that you have created. So these are some of the features that I would like to highlight from the admin settings. So when you are about to start creating a contract, Zoho Contract provides you with two options. Either you can import your existing contracts, be it in any stage, and you can manage the rest of the contract lifecycle within the tool. Or you can start creating by clicking on New Contract, selecting the contract type, entering the details based on the agreement you are about to enter. Who is going to be the counterparty? Who is going to be the primary contact from the counterparty? So you can select them, and you can also define certain things like, is the contract term going to be definite or indefinite? Is it going to be a renewable contract or non-renewable contract? And when the contract is coming to into effect. So all of these details can be entered at the time of creation itself. And when you click on save and continue, a contract document gets automatically generated based on the details that you have entered and the template that you have chosen. And now here the contract author, since Zoho Contracts is powered by Zoho Writer, so it is built on top of it, the contract author here will get to use all the features that a full-blown word processor provides. They can include fields, they can use all the formatting options that is available. And while authoring, there are few features that I would like to highlight here. One is the document assembly feature. So if you can see, there is a clauses tab which will display all the clauses available for this particular contract type. Now, by simply unselecting it, you can remove that clause from the contract document. And you can also switch between alternate languages under each clause. So this eliminates the need to duplicate contract templates for minor tweaks. Say for an NDA in South Africa will be different from an NDA in US. So you need not create multiple contract templates. You can have one contract type, and you can just switch between the languages, alternate languages under the standard clause. So, and after that, there's also another feature which will help you to invite your peers and co-author the contract. That is, you can invite your peer organization members with restricted permissions, say for example, fill fields only, and you can get the field values or some contract data filled by co-authoring it. So once you're done authoring the contract, you can mark it as draft complete. So once you mark it as draft complete, you will automatically move to the stage approval, where when you submit this contract document for approval, there is a contract approval workflow that is already associated with this contract type. So you'll be able to view what's the approval workflow like and who are the approvers. And you'll also be able to track the activities of the approvers. Have they received the email? Have they checked on it? Or have they approved it? Or is it still pending? So you'll be able to view all the activities of approvers over here in this dashboard. And in a scenario where one of the approver has already approved it and the other one is yet to approve, this is how it looks. So if you see, Anna Hella has already approved the contract document and Jack Smith is yet to approve the contract. And quickly, I will show how it looks for Jack Smith as an approver. So he has received an email, a document to approve, and this is how it looks. So as an approver, they'll be able to delete, add, select any contractual term and add comment to it. They can set visibility for those comments like everyone or restricted. So they can set visibility for that. And also they can mark changes, mark comments. And when they approve, they can also add a message and approve the contract document. Now, when both the approvers have approved the contract document, it is good to go for negotiation. So negotiation, you have to share this contract document with the counterparty with whom we are going to enter the deal. So when you click on this send, Zoho Contracts has enabled a security feature here where you can protect this document with a password. So you can enter the password, set a password, and you can select who is going to be your counterparty negotiator and you can click on send. Now, as the counterparty will receive an email where they can quickly click the link and they can start reviewing. And for the counterparties, they do not need a Zoho Contracts account to participate in negotiation. So anyone, you have to just, even their Gmail address, you can just enter their email, set a password, and they'll be receiving a document. Now, when they click on this link, a controlled version of the contract document will open. So all they have to do is to key in the password, and now they'll be able to start reviewing the contract document. So as counterparties, they can like suggest changes. They'll not be able to make direct changes. That is, when they remove any particular contractual term, it will be highlighted with a redlining capability. And they can also select contractual term and add comments to it. And they can also set visibility for those comments. And they can add. Similarly, all the changes and all the comments will be highlighted with a redlining capability here. And when they mark it as finished review, uh, they can also leave a message. And there is an option here called proceed for signing. Say when you are sending a contract document to your counterparty and they feel that the contract document is good to go. So then they can show their readiness by enabling this option here, wherein you can immediately proceed by sending the contract document for signature. So once they confirm and send, so all of this is happening at the counterparty end. That is party B is doing this. So parallelly here, the contract owner will receive a review summary. So I have sent this contract document for negotiation, and now I'm able to see a review summary that will give an overview of what happened during the negotiation process, like number of changes done, number of comments added, and what's the status for proceed with signing like. So all of that will be there. So similarly, when there are multiple negotiation cycles happening, so that is the main a challenge that business face when they send the contract document through emails. And now when they have to go check the first version that was involved and what changes they did in the second cycle of negotiation. And to address that problem, Zoho Contracts has a feature called View Previous Cycle. As and when you move on to the second level of negotiation itself, this will get enabled. So when you click on this View Previous Cycle, you will be able to view all the previous contract negotiation cycle for this particular contract document, along with the version control, that is the document that was involved in that particular cycle, along with the review summary. So this will help you to track back to the original document or the document with the secondary level of changes. So similar features available for the counterparty as well. They can also compare the documents between the negotiation cycles. And now when the negotiation is done, like all parties involved in that agree on the contract document, it is now we have to send it for signature. And as I mentioned earlier, Zoho Contracts is powered by Zoho Writer. Zoho Contracts is also has a tight integration with Zoho Sign. So when you purchase Zoho Contracts, Zoho Sign comes for free. So when you add your signatories, you can add as many as representatives from the organization end, and you can add as many representatives from the counterparty end. You can also add other representatives as witnesses for this contract document, and you can update and send. So when you click on this, you will be automatically redirected to Zoho Sign UI, where you can drag and drop all the required placeholders and you can send it for signature. So here, for now, I will just add the signature placeholder here. So I'm just, you can select the corresponding recipient. So for the counterparty, I'm going to select, yeah. Similarly, wherever in the contract document you need placeholders, you can easily drag and drop them and you can click on send. So as I mentioned, counterparties do not need a Zoho Contracts account for negotiation. Even for signature, they will receive an email like this where they can click and immediately sign the contract document. When you send, the recipients will receive an email and you can quickly get them digitally signed, and you will be able to track the status of it right from the within the tool for individual contracts. So with this, we have completed how Zoho Contracts streamlines from authoring to execution. Now we will see post execution. So the unique feature that we have introduced for post execution management is letter templates. So in this admin setting, there is something called contract letters, which is available for termination, renewal, extension, and amendment. So you can customize this letter in a way that it captures the history of that contract document and the current changes. Say, for example, when you amend an active contract and mark it as amendment draft complete, an amendment letter based on the letter that you have configured, it will get generated where the whereas clause will capture the history of the contract document, like when the parties entered into the agreement. All of such details will be there in the whereas clause. And in the now therefore clause, all the current changes that you have done to your contract document will be available. So you can send just this letter to for internal or external purpose. You can send it for approval, negotiation, and get it executed as well. And this comes in effective as and when you decide the effective date. So this is how Zoho Contracts streamlines the end-to-end contract lifecycle from authoring, approval, negotiation, execution, and post-execution management. So we have covered the first approach. Second approach is to mitigate business risk. So though contract templates, approval workflows help to mitigate risk at contracts, one important risk causing factor in the contracting journey is obligations, unfulfilled obligations. So when the contract is active, most business or most people think that the work is done. No, it starts only after a contract becomes active, because that is when you have to track all the responsibilities or obligation that you are promised or the counterparty has promised to do in the tenure of agreement. So to manage that, we have an exclusive obligation section where you can add your obligation. You can assign like obligation owner, you can set priority, and you can also manage them by tracking their status. So you can add them by entering the details, adding an obligation owner for that particular obligation, set priority, and you can add both task type and non-task obligations as well. And the task type obligation can be a one-time or recurring task. So be it payments, a quality check, you can add them. So as Jack Smith, I'll quickly show how it looks. So they can quickly go to their activities module and they can check how many obligations are assigned to them. And based on their progress, they can update their status and automatically the contract owner will be able to see it. So this granular level of obligation tracking helps to mitigate risk to great extent. And moving on to the third aspect of improving compliance and governance, we can start it with the analytical capability of contracts. So we have 35 plus standard reports for various aspects of contract management. And as I mentioned earlier, when regulations crop in, it translates into changes in clause languages. And to understand or to how many of your existing contracts make use of that particular clause, uh, in the absence of a CLM tool, it becomes very, very hectic to just go back and see all the contracts one on one. But using a CLM tool, there is a report readily available that will help you to view all the contracts that are using this particular clause type, and this will expedite your amendment process. So in Zoho Contracts, we have this report which will help you to do your impact study quickly. And we also have reports for other metrics as well, activity or milestone reports, the performance report. So you can see which particular contract has maximum negotiation cycle. So this will help you to know which clause is getting off in red line and reduce the contract cycle time as well. And moving on to the governing capability of Zoho Contracts. So you can see all the users of this particular tool, and you can click on this user, and activities module will show all the activities performed by that user, and it will be present in chronological order here. Not only at a user level, activity tracking is present at a contract level as well. So when you click on activity here, you will be able to see all activities performed for this particular contract document. And apart from this activity tracking at user level and contract level, we also have a central audit system. That is, you have activity logs at admin level, at user access log to see who is currently using the system and from where, and all the downloads that are happening from the system. And we also have a unique feature called data protection, say to comply with region specific data protection laws. And so you can select the personal data fields here, and you can anonymize this in the contract documents. So by enabling this data protection feature, you will be able to anonymize personal details of your counterparties. And with this, we have completed the three aspects, which is streamlining the end-to-end CLM, mitigating business risk, and improving governance. And last one is promoting cross-functional integration. So that is the working integration with Zoho CRM. I'll quickly touch upon that as well. So after anyone who is an admin in Zoho Contracts, who is an admin in Zoho CRM can enable the integration. So the person should be an account owner of contracts and an admin in Zoho CRM, and they can enable the integration. After installing, you can configure the basic settings. You can map some fields from CRM to directly contracts. So you can also map the contact details of your counterparties from CRM. You can select the contract type that you would need on a day-to-day basis. So if I'm from the department, sales department, then I can choose the contracts that type that I would need immediately, like day-to-day basis, the most frequently used contract types. You can select all of that. So once you configure all of your initial settings, there'll be a request contract button enabled in the deals module. So when you click on this request contract, you will have to enter the details based on the agreement that you're about to enter, or whatever based on the deal. So you can choose the contract type here, enter the details, requested department, primary contact, the effective date. So once you enter all the details, and you can click on directly send. Now, a contract document will get automatically generated. You can either send this contract document as an email attachment right away, or you can go manage the contract within the Zoho Contracts tool. And you can also find them in the attachment section here in this deals module. So you will be able to find it. And there's also a Zoho contract section here where you will be able to manage the stages of the contracts. That is, you can send it for approval, negotiation, signature right from the CRM itself. This saves a lot of time for the salespeople. So as you can see here, you can send it right away as an email attachment. You can view it in Zoho Contracts tool for further enhancements and updates. And you can also download the contract document here. So this is the integration with Zoho CRM and Zoho Contracts. For detailed integration, you can also show your readiness for a personal demo one-on-one, where our product experts can see what's your CLM requirement like and how Zoho Contracts can solve your problem. So, Akshay, can you please run that poll? I hope I was clear throughout the session. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A tab. I'm going to leave the next 10 minutes for us to discuss the questions. And I've also got something exciting to share, that this month marks 3 years of Zoho Contracts. So we have completed 3 years, and these are some of our numbers. And we are planning a lot of upcoming AI related features. So please stay tuned. You can follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter to know about the updates. And yeah,